Welcome to This Commerce Life. We are an unscripted podcast dedicated to small businesses and entrepreneurs in the retail and consumer packaged goods space in Canada and the United States.
I'm Phil Chang, co-host and co-founder.
And I'm Kenny Benucci, co-host and co-founder of This Commerce Life.
Our love is the journey to retail, and our passion is sharing that with you every week.
Record, I forgot a video.
There you go.
Well, look at you. You're branded in the background.
I know. You got the whole thing going on.
This is not a home office. I'm at the office. I'm plugging away. It's 7 o'clock.
Oh, no.
At
Why
the real
are you?
office. What are you doing?
Are you there because of us?
No, I stayed because of you, but I've got stuff. We actually just pitched to Costco US Ecom, and they're based out of California. So it was only 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock when I pitched to them. So I was
Gotcha.
That's pretty cool. That's cool. Kind of cool.
That's
news.
cool.
Yeah, busy days. I've got 2 kids at home too. I got an almost 4-year-old and an almost 2-year-old.
Okay.
My wife loves when I work late. It's one of those things where she's just thrilled when I get to stay late at the office and not help with bedtime.
Well, then you don't have to tell with bedtime and bath time, which she loves to do, right?
Oh, yeah.
By herself, she loves it for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Why wouldn't you want to take care of 2 little kids all on your own? But your husband's out playing
But before
podcast.
we got on air, Devin asked us to say how wonderful his wife is and how amazing she is that
that was a given.
That
was a given.
He could come on and do this podcast.
Actually, and then if we're going to go live, we're going to basically tell the truth now. We're really sorry. It was his idea. It was not ours. We told him not to do it. He said it was okay. I'm not going to get on the wrong side of the wife. Not going to happen, my friend.
I can edit that out. It's all good.
He's on his own, man. He's on his own. Forget it.
We'll just post a deep fake of Kenny going, "That's right. That's exactly what."
Forget it, man. There's no way I would do that. Whatever the wife says, that's the law. Move on.
Oh my God.
Right.
I remember those days.
You said 5 and 2?
Almost 4 and almost 2.
Almost 4 and almost 2.
Those are that's
boys.
a long time ago. Holy jeez.
Yeah. 2 boys. So I'm in for some trouble, but
they're so much fun.
They're
it's good. It's all good.
You know, so I have we both have older kids, right? But I have an older boy and 2 younger girls. So 20, 16, and 14. I think I would take the boys any day. The girls are
different.
You know what? Once we had 2 and we knew we were done after 2. My wife wanted more after 1. And I said, well, wait till we have 1 and then we'll see how you feel. And then we had 1 and she goes, 2's good. And so after we had 2 boys, we kind of said to each other, we're kind of glad we had 2 boys. You know, if we had a girl, we would have been, very happy and thrilled and excited and whatever. But after having 2 boys, I think we're boy parents. And because I would have these nerves with having a girl or something. And,
it sounds so old school, but I tell you what, I don't care what anybody, I have a girl and a boy. The girl's the oldest one. They're 26 and 25. And I mean, this is sound terrible and we're going to get shit for this like we usually do. But I worry about him a lot and I worry about her more. And it's so stupid. And I get it. And I understand all the flack you're going to get. But it's hard. Like for a dad, I think really just like all my dad friends who have girls, it's all the same. It's not that we don't trust them any more or less. And she's
they're no less capable.
She's actually more capable than he is. Yeah. It's all good. It's just different. I'm sorry. It just is. I just it's hard. Like your daddy's a little girl, man. It's a whole different.
They're strong, independent women. The whole but still, yes. But
I get it. It's still
But
And then I have I worry about. I don't care. I mean, you know what? Just so you know, I'm 26, 25. I still worry about stupid kids every day. They drive me crazy. I just worry about them all the time. I don't know why.
But it's amazing though.
And
it's
they're
amazing.
Good kids.
So don't.
It's the best. It gets better as it gets. If you love it now,
you think it's amazing now. The best is yet to come. Like it's just like every stage gets better and better.
Awesome.
Better.
And I'm in my 30s now, and I travel quite a bit for work. Now that COVID's, knock on wood, coming to a head.
Yeah.
And my mom still texts me. She goes, "Did you land in Vancouver okay? Did you get to Montreal okay?" Is everything okay?
My mom does that to me too, buddy.
Kids of my own, all these things.
Yeah.
Are you okay? Is everything okay?
You didn't text me. Is everything okay? Did the plane land? I tried to phone home. Nobody knows where you are. I'm like, okay, pull it down a notch.
Yeah, it's okay.
Right?
It's okay. But you know what? It doesn't change. You're right. The older they get, you still worry, but you worry about new things and you worry about different things that maybe you didn't worry about when they were 2 and 4.
It's just different worries.
Yeah.
You'll learn it as you go. Like this, you think about it now, even with your age, the shit you worried about when they were just learning to crawl and walk is very different now with the 4-year-old.
Yeah.
Now it's a whole other set of worries and issues. And then they hit just every stage is just different, but it's all good. It's a fun ride. I mean, if you're inclined to do fun. So, kids are pretty cool, man.
They're pretty fun.
Yeah, it's not a bad run.
Man.
Plus someone's got to take care of us when we get old.
That's right. That's
no more farming anymore. I have to worry about that. But damn, someone's got to take care of the old man when he gets old.
Oh man.
That's all good.
We'll do a quick intro. We've got Devin Powell, who runs Pulp Press on. We've had a string of West Coasters on, so it's nice to have someone in Ontario.
Phil feels happy.
Yeah, I feel happy. I'm in Mississauga, so Kenny's in Vancouver, but we've actually normally we go like, so we're a national program. We kind of get people from all over the country, but of late we've had quite a few
of West Coasters.
Yeah. But So welcome to the program. We super curious. I mean, the site looks great. Like the products you do look amazing. So kind of interested to hear your journey and
dying to hear the story.
Yeah.
Product looks good. The packaging looks wonderful. The product looks super clean.
Yeah.
Love to hear it though.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, unlike a lot of your guests that come on the pod, I'm an avid listener, like I mentioned previously. I'm not an owner. I'm not a founder. I'm not
don't matter.
I'm not that entrepreneur that comes on all the time. I'm somebody who came from a different world, running like a home services company, moving, junk removal, packing, cleaning, driveway sealing. And I ran this company through university for almost 10 years. And one day I was approached by the owner of Pulp Press, and he says, listen, I'm running this company and I need a hand, in the warehouse. And he goes, what would you do to leave your current company and come, work and run mine? And I said, well, what are you doing? He goes, it's a cold pressed juice company. And I said, I don't have a clue how to do anything.
A drywall?
You said juice. I'm good, but what the hell? Like,
and he said to me, he goes, none of us do. He goes, this is an industry that is ever changing. It's different every single day. No product is, the same as the next product. He goes, we just need a fresh set of eyes to come in. And, at first was helping to manage like the e-commerce warehouse. And then it quickly grew in to now being the general manager, the day-to-day operational leader, kind of the face of the company of this now, large national North American company. And it was really, really funny. When I came on board, we were doing a very small number of retail sales. We were only in maybe a couple hundred points of distribution across Canada. We were doing a modest business online. This is back in 2018. And a modest business online, shipping direct to consumer, doing like cleanses and detoxes and, that stuff where people are doing like a 3-day juice cleanse or a 5-day juice cleanse. And I came on board and I was like, this is totally outside of my comfort zone. I don't know what's going on here. And it was kind of that Richard Branson moment where you say, I got to fake it until I make it. And we put that, all sorts of different hats on. And I was picking orders for the online orders. I was reaching out to new retailers. We landed like a Sobeys national deal. And all this time we were just with a small co-packer out of Quebec, making maybe 10, 15,000 bottles a week, which to us at the time was like, oh my God, 10, 15,000 bottles.
It's huge
business. Fast forward now, we're pumping out 100,000 bottles a week minimum.
Wow.
We're located in Canada, just maybe 2,500 points of distribution. In the US, we launched in the midst of COVID, doing big e-com business in the US and onboarding retailers left, right, and center. And it's kind of like, where did the last 4 years go? And it's been a really funny trip, just because it seems like I haven't been here for only 4 years, but at the same time, I feel like I've only been how have I only been here for 4 years?
Right.
It feels like I've been here for a lifetime to see kind of the growth that we've seen in such a short period of time. And not to credit to myself in any way, shape, or form, we have an amazing team behind us. But from when I came on board to doing this, small little nominal chunk of business, to seeing where we are now and to kind of see what's in the funnel, what's in the pipeline down the road, it's crazy. And it speaks volumes with the industry. Like the CPG industry is just crazy. Like, it's like nothing
We're
I've
a
ever
little
been
crazy.
Yeah, it's like nothing I've ever been involved in. And it's been really cool. It's been really cool.
So in the 4 years, you went from not knowing to sounding like one of us. You are one of us, right? Like
you are now.
Literally. Oh yeah,
definitely.
like
You definitely sound like.
Yeah. You're right in there.
Man.
Like
you're in.
That's awesome.
When I came out, you have to give it everything, especially like I mentioned, 2 kids. I've got to support a wife that's going to leave me if I don't put food on the table. One of these things where it's like you have to kind of step up and step into the role, and it was something that I completely had no idea about. And every day, 8, 10, 12 hours a day, you're just sinking your teeth into it and learning everything. It's listening to podcasts. It's attending trade shows, which we neglected to do for the last several years. And especially with COVID, obviously.
COVID didn't help, right?
But going to these trade shows and meeting people and hearing their stories and the trials and tribulations that they ran through, hearing those, it just resonates with the business that you're trying to run, and it makes making decisions so much easier because you're like, oh, somebody's already been through this. I'm not the only one experiencing this, lull in business in July and August, or this, peak in business in January, February. It's like everyone that you kind of see it from other brands, and it's been really cool.
And you do find people in this industry are pretty good at sharing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, nobody will give you trade secrets and recipes, and they shouldn't, but they're more than willing to give some advice, recommend people, maybe tell you, listen, I sort of did it that way too. You might want to try a different angle. Like they're actually willing to, step out a little bit.
Yeah. And even similar brands in your category, like other functional beverages or other juice companies. There's enough space on the shelf.
There's so much room, buddy. There's so much room for everybody.
So, we're at CHFA West, we're in Vancouver and, earlier on. And you run into the other guys that are in our category. You maybe work with a different broker or with a different distributor. And at the end of the day, we're all sharing, sharing our juices. We see each other at the bar. We grab a drink. There's no animosity or hard feelings. It's like we're just a small brand or a brand trying to make it. And it's so cool like that. You don't see that in a lot of brands.
No, you don't see in a lot of industries.
Yeah, when I was previously running this moving company, we were quite a large moving company in London, Ontario. We had 8 moving trucks. We had staff of 45, 50 guys. And if you saw another moving company, they'd be out the window, giving you shit,
Really?
It was like
finger and the whole thing.
Never seen this person in my life, and there's this random animosity against each other. And then you join into this business, and everyone's just fun and friendly, and enjoys chatting and sharing, like you said, Kenny, just sharing, different things that they've gone through with their brand, and it's really cool to hear.
The industry's crazy enough as it is, right? I think that's one of the things that we realize is it's just so crazy that we don't need to fight each other to win in this thing, right? Like it's crazy enough the way it is. The natural side's different though too, Phil. Like the side
that Devin's with us is the natural side is a lot different. When you get into the conventional side, it's more guarded for sure. It's a little more guarded for sure. Retail, 100% guarded.
Yeah.
Because even the retailers in the natural channel were very chatty and chummy, and everybody knows everybody. And you're competing sometimes in the same block even, but really there's not this animosity that you get in this conventional side. It's like a whole different shit show. It's really, you dig in and, Coke is bad if you're with Pepsi, and, Old Dutch isn't good if you're Frito. There's just animosity. You know what? I work for, when I was at Kimberly-Clark, I went to Danone, and Danone at the time was being, so Kimberly-Clark, and Procter & Gamble, right? They go head to head in a whole bunch of categories. And then when I told the GM of Kimberly-Clark at the time, he was a French Canadian guy, and I had said to him, I'm going to Danone. He goes, I know the guy who's running that. He's an ex-P&G guy. You're going to the dark side. And I was like, whoa, I was going to get more experience and a raise. That's a little quantum leap, but that's okay. Sure.
But okay, you just calm down a minute, right? There's no evil dark side.
Not a big deal.
What the heck, right? Yeah. So it's
before we get too far into your story, Devin. So coming from it sort of sounds like moving, drywall, construction, stuff like that. What was it that, why? What's the leap? What was it? Guy was really cool, gal was really cool, product was really cool. That's because that's when you said outside your comfort zone, it really is. You're in a whole different world now, right?
So I would say, I got into this kind of home services through university. Another friend of mine had started this business, and through university, I was kind of working alongside him. We grew this business together, and he exited right around the time, maybe early 2017, mid 2017. And at that point, they were bought out by a parent company, which kind of changed the culture of the business that we were trying to run. It got a little bit more toxic, a little bit, you don't enjoy going to work with your buddies.
Right.
You wake up and you're like, oh, I've got to punch the card. I got to fill out the spreadsheet. I got to go through those motions.
Yeah.
So I was already 1 foot out the door, I would say. And so when my friend approached me, who was running Pulp and Press, reached out, I was kind of like, is this my opportunity to get out? Not have to go through this, applying for a new job cycle, and just kind of step into something that's new. Maybe the grass is greener on the other side kind of moment. And I spoke with my wife and I was like, is this a good career move for me? Because this time I'm in my, late 20s or something. And it's in my prime years where I'm making career moves to either, grow my career or kind of stay static.
Right.
And I spoke with my wife and I said, should I do this and come on board with the Pulp and Press team? And she goes, well, I really like cold pressed juice. So yeah, you should. No, she goes, no, I think if this is something you see yourself really enjoying, she goes, do it because you're going to regret it if you don't.
Yeah.
And so it was that kind of leap of faith where I put a lot of my faith into Pulp and Press. And to be honest with you guys, it's paid off in spades. It's a company that, I do enjoy waking up and coming into every day.
You can tell you seem happy. So like it comes
you
across.
Really do.
I'm just
look at 7 p.m. at night. You've had 2 grinding Costco things, and you're talking to 2 dudes on a podcast.
Like seriously,
you got energy and jump. So that's the juice, and that's.
I mean, we do know that there's other reasons because we're trying not to hit 7:30 bedtime. So we do know there's other things we're playing in, but still.
No, it's true. I absolutely, it's one of those things. Not a lot of people can say that they enjoy what they do. Sometimes it's just a paycheck. Sometimes it's just something to get you out of bed.
Right.
For me, like I genuinely feel passionate.
You seem it. You do. You seem like you actually do enjoy it, which is pretty cool.
Which is also rare for somebody who's not, an owner or a founder or somebody, in this position where they have this vested interest kind of thing. I just genuinely, believe in the product, believe in the brand, believe in the guys that run the show and that actually pay my, sign my paycheck.
Right.
And so I want to make sure that I do my best for them.
And it's the same folks, right? Because the people who started it are still there. It's still.
Well, so not really. The original founder actually exited about 1.5 years ago. He was partners with my friend who's still on board. And so Pulp and Press is actually owned by, or not owned in part by, but sister companies with a brand called Northern Commerce. They're one of North America's largest digital marketing agencies.
So I thought it was
my friend Mike
Interesting.
Owns Northern, and then he also owns Pulp and Press. So Northern manages all of our digital marketing.
That's really cool.
Graphic design, kind of all of our social, all that stuff. And then we kind of run the day-to-day operations of new business development and fulfilling orders and managing retailers, and customer service and things like that.
All that fun stuff.
How interesting. What an interesting kind of, it's not a natural ownership, if you will.
No, it's
right.
Definitely not. Why I become more of the face of the companies, because we don't have that founder structure that a lot of brands, especially in the natural space,
for sure.
And it's really interesting. And we operate a very lean business model. Pulp Press only has maybe 7 or 8 people that work daily on Pulp and Press in the office. Northern has about 200 employees that work at their agency. A lot of them dedicated full time to Pulp and Press as well. But we all wear a lot of hats. So people that are managing part of our customer service are also managing supplier relations with Costco and Amazon and TSC and a lot of these big box channels. And you don't see that a lot in conventional business. There'd be somebody specific to this channel, somebody specific to customer service. We all wear a lot of hats, and it makes it interesting.
Well, with only 7 people, I guess you're going to have to, right?
Yeah. And we do a very modest business. Again, like I said, we're doing about 100,000 units per week in Canada, and we have a co-packer in Quebec City that we work very closely with. And they've been fantastic, and they're like part of the team as well. They have a very keen eye when it comes to our products. If something looks off or tastes off, or they make suggestions of, you maybe should add this to this product, or maybe you should revise the look of this label a little bit. So they work really closely with us. It's a really, really interesting relationship.
Nice.
7 or 8 people for what? 2,000?
Yeah, 2,500 stores.
2,500.
Again, currently at the time, I'm the only salesperson with Pulp and Press.
Good for you. You're doing pretty well.
Oh, wow.
We do work with a broker. I'll give them a little shout out. We work with Marsham. international food
Good
brokers.
group. No, good
Yeah,
group.
good group.
Good
Yeah.
group.
The Marsham gang, Paul, Derek, Kyle, and the rest of the team. They're both fantastic people. And we just came on board with them beginning of this year, end of last year kind of thing. And one thing I can say as a small business in this space is if you don't have the capacity to, onboard this robust sales team, this, team of, 5, 6, 10 people working with the brokerage, can pay in spades, because it gives you kind of that reach and that, those feet on the ground that you wouldn't otherwise have. And so I would say that we've seen huge change in our business in the last, 6 to 8 months, just because we have more people working on that sales function for Pulp and Press, whereas previously it had just been myself.
Right. And that's your brokerage. So, and on your distribution side, are you using one of the distributors or are you going direct to stores?
We do a bit of both. We're hybrid. So we go direct with a lot of our main accounts. So you're like your Sobeys, Metro.
Your warehouse type accounts that easy ship,
exactly.
right? I would assume. Okay.
Exactly. And then a lot of our smaller accounts, we use John Luca. We're currently in the process of with Sato and Nationwide
groups
and things like that. And so it's been great. It's been, I would say the next year, 18 months is going to be huge for growth for us in different points of distribution. We've got a lot of irons in the fire, and we're seeing a lot of them come to fruition both in Canada and the US.
You pick some good people all the way through, which is good too, right?
Some really good picks.
Good for you. Good for you.
Funny story actually. When we onboarded Marsham, it was right after the one of the previous founders had just exited, and our CFO reached out and he goes, "I've been thinking about working with a brokerage. Do you know it?" And I said, "Well, a couple of years ago, we were at CHFA East. We were in Montreal, and we were at the time our broker. He was having a party, and it was kind of mellow, to say the least. And so we wandered across the street. We saw lights flashing, people outside. It was really bumping, and we just kind of wandered in and kind of blended in like we belonged there. And
crashed a party.
Excellent. We crashed a party and started talking to people. And next thing I know, I'm talking to Kyle Marsham. And again, fast forward 2 years, I had no idea. Right. And so we're drinking and dancing and blah blah, and it's a great time. And so when our CFO reached out to me, he said, "Do you know any brokers we should work with?" I was like, "We got to work with Marsham. They throw a hell of a party.
They throw a good party. Worst case, it's going to be a good party."
And, so we did our due diligence, obviously, and did some interviews and reached out to them, and they turned out to be, again, the best fit for us.
That's awesome.
And they throw a hell of a party. But they're just, again, they're like a family brand. They are very passionate about what they do. They don't just onboard any old brand. They had a lot of questions for us and for onboarding, and we just thought that was a really good fit. And again, in the last 6 to 8 months, it's been just a great experience working with them. But it was a funny story how do you know any brokers? Well, if you want to
at this rockin' party,
I kind of remember some of this broker. I don't know how much of it I remember anymore, but some of it, that's awesome.
Like every VP of sales is going to hear this and start telling that story, right? Because every time you go to a trade show, every time you put on an event, right, the dialogue between senior management and management is
always the same.
Look, is it worth it?
How many POs are going to get out of this one?
Like, how many POs? How many signups? Right? And so your story is now everyone's going to go, "Did you see how that works? We threw a bump and part, and we got someone like like
2,500 stores because of the party.
The lifetime value of this customer is, like, oh
Absolutely.
My gosh, that would be hilarious. That'd be hilarious.
That is some of the game, though, right? It's part of it.
Yeah. So tell us about so what's the deal? Because I think I'm a Neanderthal. I don't really get the cold press, the juice thing. I'm all there, but I don't get the cold press thing.
Yeah,
so olive oil and stuff.
When you're conventionally making juice and you're pressing it through, your juicer at home, or whatever it is, it often uses centrifugal force or a spinning blade to chop up and dice up all of the vegetables, and you kind of yield the juice afterwards. And the problem with that is when you're using heat to extract anything, it burns away a lot of the vitamins and nutrients. So it burns away a lot of the bad things like yeasts and molds and bacteria and mesophiles and aerobic colonies and all those things you don't want in your fruits or in your juice. But it burns away most of the vitamins and nutrients. So for example, when you make a smoothie at home, you throw in the blender your spinach, your ice cubes, your whatever, and you blend it, you're losing, I don't know what the exact percentage is, but most of the vitamins and nutrients that you would otherwise be enjoying if you had eaten those fruits and vegetables raw.
Right.
And so when you cold press something, you're using these two big cold cylinders or one big cold cylinder against a plate to press out all of these, all the juices out of the fruits and vegetables. But because it's cold, it's not burning away, or in other words, using heat to pasteurize the vitamins and nutrients. So you're maintaining about 100% of the vitamins and nutrients. And we take it one step further than that as well. As we don't use any preservatives or pasteurization in any of our products. And so a lot of people think that will diminish the shelf life, which it does. But what it does is we use a natural process called high pressure processing, or HPP, which uses what's called isostatic pressure or cold pressure to put the bottle of juice under extreme cold pressure, about 81,000 pounds per square inch, deeper, more pressure than going down to Mariana's Trench, they say. And what that does is it naturally burns away all of the yeasts and molds and bacteria and mesophiles and herbal colonies and all these things by giving it frostbite. But it maintains about almost 100% of all the vitamins and nutrients. Right. And so then it gets, capped and sealed and all these things and sent off. And as long as it's kept in the fridge and unopened, our product stays fresh for 180 days from the date that it's manufactured. So 6 months from the date that it's manufactured. Whereas when you make juice at home, maybe you'll squeeze a bit of lemon in it and it'll last for 3 or 4 days. Yeah, we're thinking about 180 days of refrigerated shelf life, which again,
HPP makes a big difference.
Huge difference.
And it's better than pasteurizing stuff like this, because again, pasteurizing, you're back to all the heat.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah,
it works. It's nothing wrong. I mean, it does what it's supposed to do, but you do pull away from.
So when you look at a bottle of our juice, like our Beta Blaster juice, I always give it as a good example. It has, if you look at the label on the side, the nutritional panel, it says 420% of your daily vitamin A, like 90% of your daily vitamin C, 20% of your daily iron. And these are numbers that are just astronomical when you compare it to something like a Tropicana juice,
right?
Which, it's a pure orange juice. But when you look at the nutritional panel, it, it says 4% of your daily vitamin C. And then it says 100% of your daily vitamin C from vitamin C, supplements like being added afterwards.
Right.
And that's because they pasteurize it so that it can be, it doesn't have to be shelf. It's shelf.
They burn everything away. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why they have to add vitamin C or vitamin D afterwards. Yeah. Whereas we don't. Same thing. We don't use preservatives. We don't use any funny ingredients that you can't pronounce. Right. We're not using ascorbic acid or citric acid. Different gums or sodium bicarbonate, or I don't know, words that you don't like to pronounce. We use apples and celery and lemons and kale and spinach. I think our funniest ingredient might be like spirulina or, activated charcoal or hemp protein.
Right.
But we're not using any of these ingredients that, when you look at the label in 2022, you want to just see things that you're familiar with. But you also want to have a product that is ready for that mass market, right? You want to know that you can go national from Surrey, BC over to Stellar, Nova Scotia, and provide a product that is both delicious, good for you, but has a long enough shelf life that retailers feel confident in listing it.
For sure.
And that's what a lot of companies in our category run into a problem with is, they offer a 30-day manufactured shelf life with, 18 days guaranteed landed, or they offer maybe 60 days or 90 days. And so we're offering 180 days from data manufacturing, 142 days guaranteed. And, our product's delicious. It looks good on the shelf. It's really healthy for you, but it's something that retailers can be comfortable in listing and knowing that it's not going to spoil in a week if it doesn't sell. And so we've made this mass market product, but it's the best one that you can get.
Is it like logistically, do you need to ship it cold or you can ship it room temperature?
No, everything ships cold. So we use, we have different, cold chain suppliers that we use to move around the country.
Yeah.
A lot of it, it's like once it's made, it's got to be refrigerated immediately. It's one of those things, if it sits out for only a few hours and gets below, 8 or 9 degrees Celsius, it's going to start to spoil. Right. And so the bottle starts to expand until it eventually explodes because it's fermenting. It's like turning into wine or something. Yeah. And so you have to keep it refrigerated at all times, which makes it very difficult. Again, I would say the majority of our business is online, shipping direct to consumer. And we ship things next day across Canada. So you order on Sunday, we ship it out Monday, and it gets to you on Tuesday. That's a logistical nightmare.
It's a logistical miracle.
It is
actually. Yeah, no joke.
And so, finding ways to do that without breaking the cold chain, while keeping customers happy, while keeping this, maintaining a quality product. That was my first couple of years here, was, just kind of perfect that. And then being able to replicate it with other fulfillment companies, because we can't be everywhere at once, right? And so trying to find someone, right now we're distributing out of Calgary, Kansas City, North Carolina, California, and trying to find someone that can replicate this on the same level that we expect to make sure that it's delivered within 24 hours and maintains a temperature of 34 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's a lot of
cold chain, right? Cold chain is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, that's a lot of issues.
And for a team of only 8 people or so, it's
you could have 2 people working that on all day, 2-4-7.
Yeah.
Just doing that shit.
Yeah.
You say the majority, so over half your stuff online? Sorry, Phil.
No, that's okay.
Like most of your business is online, even after 2,500.
I would say more than half of our business is online, going direct to consumer.
Wow.
Really? With even that much distribution? Wow.
Yeah.
It seems funny, Phil, because the cold chain is such a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a wow.
And you know what? It's one of those things where people think that the online business would in turn cannibalize in-store turns, right? Why would you buy it in store? Why would you go to Sobeys or Loblaws or Metro or Farm Boy or Save On or whatever and buy the juice there when I can just hop onto Amazon or Costco or your own website and buy it there? And the thing is, like, when you shop online, there's always minimums, right? Minimums for free shipping, minimums for a discount, this, that, and the other. So when we're selling online, we're selling, I think our average order is 28 bottles of juice. Nobody
have to be economically.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, no. So like, how do you ship 4s, right?
Regularly go online and spend, a few $100s on 28 bottles of juice that takes up all the space in their fridge. So what they'll do is they'll do a 3 or a 4 or 5 day cleanse, and then they'll run to their local Sobeys, Farm Boy, Metro, and buy 2 or 3, 4 bottles. Just for, a rainy day kind of thing, to grab and go when they're on the way to work, they're feeling like crap, they're going to down a bottle. So what we've seen is, instead of cannibalizing in-store turns, it's actually encouraging them. And also, with the amount of money that we spend on digital marketing on a monthly basis, we've created this awareness. Even if you have never tried Pulp Press, odds are in Canada, you probably know who we are. You've seen one of our ads. It's like when I was speaking to my wife a little while ago about buying a new mattress, and then all of a sudden we just start seeing ads for all these new mattresses. Exactly. And you're like, why the hell is this happening?
Leave me alone.
You're being listened to at all times.
Exactly.
In a sense, it's true. You are. And so we are able to, working with Northern, this sister company, are able to kind of like leverage that and spend a lot of money online to drive, awareness ads for our website. But that translates into in-store turns as well. So when we're onboarding a new retailer or pitching to a new retailer, this is one of the kind of the key value props that we bring up, is we're not just a cold pressed juice company. We are a marketing and advertising company as well. And that's been, huge in our success, is having this value add that I don't think any of our competitors have access to at the scale that we do. And
no, not that relationship is
very
it's a key to success too, right? Because you're in a new category that, not new, but it's relatively unknown, right? So, and it's one that if you didn't have, like, if you just, it's funny, right? Because sometimes you get to these white space products and they have like a regular marketer, right? Or they have a regular marketing budget, and you're going,
it's not going to work.
It will, but it'll take 20 years, right? Like,
by the time you get it to work, someone else has figured it out.
Like, you've got this tiny little voice. Like, you got to be able to turn the volume up to 10, right? And the only way to do that is a really unique partnership like this, where somebody can really crank it, and then it's a neat way to go about making sure your omni-channel works, right? As you built a routine on the e-commerce side, and then you've reinforced it with habit fulfilling and kind of like what's the word, when it's a luxury, you can pop into a store and grab a handful more, right? Like that's an ideal, but most brands can't afford, or they're not effective enough to be able to communicate that kind of a thing, right? It's pretty cool.
Absolutely. And you know what, leading into COVID, we were already completely set up with this big, robust e-commerce store, where a lot of companies, not just in the cold pressed juice realm, were struggling to set up an e-com, because all of a sudden a lot of these natural products or a lot of these small brands were getting delisted. even if it was just temporary, everyone was focusing on buying flour, toilet paper, rice, whatever. I mean, remember the toilet paper fiasco?
That's crazy.
2020? Everyone's like stocking up on toilet paper, like, for fear that it's going to run out. And a lot of brands were getting delisted, and they were seeing a lot of their retail turns go down, and they were trying to pivot. They were, reaching out to Northern. Can you build me a website? Can you get me set up on Shopify? Can you get me set up on Squarespace? I need to build a website to sell product online because grocery's struggling. And where we're already benefiting is because we were already doing, a very healthy business online in 2018, 2019, and into 2020. And so we were already set up for that success. So we didn't have to panic or pivot like a lot of brands did. We were just, business as usual. We saw grocery drop off, so ads went up and started, encouraging more online sales. Say, COVID's here, we need to start pumping our bodies full of fresh fruit and vegetables. And our sales went through the roof through COVID. And a lot of brands weren't as lucky as we were to already be set up for that sort of success. It took, a lot of companies years to transition. And then we're on that denouement of COVID, where it was kind of on the downhill. Grocery stores were getting, opening back up to more full capacity, less restrictions, reordering those specialty products that maybe they weren't through COVID. So we saw a ton of growth in those years. Unlike a lot of companies, unfortunately, we saw a lot of growth in those couple of years, just given that we were already set up for that.
Right, we were already at least in play.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's pretty cool. So you're starting to make. Sorry, I don't remember. Are you starting to make inroads, or you're already kind of landed in the U.S. and kind of just growing distribution now?
Yeah, we're landed in the U.S. Again, we're doing a very modest online business currently. And we're the retail game in the US is completely different than it is in Canada. So we went in there, we're just going to crush it like we did in Canada. We got all these relationships, and you start reaching out to people, and it's like, nope, like, who are you?
What distributor are you? You knew it?
I'm not interested in Canada. And they're like, where?
Who's Canada?
Yeah, and so it's a lot more gritty down there. It's a lot more,
it's expensive too.
Pay to play, exactly. Very expensive.
It's expensive.
The listing times can be, you're lucky if it's months. There's some opportunities we've been working on since 2021 that have still not come to fruition yet. And it's
hard. It's just different.
They're 10 times bigger, so it's 10 times harder, right?
It's just different. It's just
completely different. But again, we've seen some success. We onboarded a small sales brokerage team down there. They're not a brokerage like you would consider Marsham. They're more of a sales team, feet on the ground, merchandising team called Dirty Hands, and they're fantastic to work with. They're just, again, a bunch of fantastic people. It's like you get off a call with them, and you're like, those are just awesome people. And they've done great work, and they've made a lot of introductions. And it was, I think, what the piece that we were missing when we first went down. We tried to self-broker like we did in Canada for years, and it just
can't do it.
In the States, you can't do it.
Can't do it.
Yeah, it's tough.
Can't do it.
You need to kind of have somebody hold your hand and
for sure
and guide you through the process.
It's too big, Devin. People don't understand. It's just there's so many people, and
there's so 5 different regions. There's
you go to Ohio and you find a guy's got 400 stores. Like, I mean, it's crazy down there, right?
Like even just the Publix in Florida and then the states bordering Publix, it's like 1,400 locations in Florida. It's like,
I know it's one little corner of the States. Like
there's hardly 1,400 locations in all of Canada for any brand. You know what I mean?
I mean, Shoppers has 1,400 spread over 5,000 miles, not 500 miles.
But the problem is like the 1,400. You kind of go, because sometimes you see that, right? You go into a region, you go, okay, I figured out Publix should be well equipped, right? Well, no, you move over to HEB in Texas, and they don't even talk the same language almost, right? So you're like, what the hell is going on, right? Like I thought I got a big guy figured out, and you realize he's big in Florida, but he speaks Floridian, right? Like now I got to learn Texan, and then I got to learn West, then I got to learn Southwestern, U.S., versus Northeastern, right? It's like, oh, good Lord, right?
Well, that's the biggest thing, Kenny, that we ran into. It's like, we got onboarded with UNFI, and we're like, this is great, this is fantastic. We kind of figured out the pricing model for this, and then we start reaching out to brands that use KT, and it's like, nope, it's different.
It's
different markups, different,
the bill backs are different. Where they get you is different. I mean, you don't know which debits to look at because one guy's debit you really need to be on, the other one's not that one, it's this one. You're thinking, what the hell, man?
Everybody wants an EDLP, and it's like, and it's like, why don't I just give you that price then? They're like, no, it's got to be this price with
like, yeah, I know. Well, how about if then I can only give you 10%? Well, it can't be 10, got to be 15% discount. You're thinking, can I make money on this too? Is is anybody allowed? We do this?
Yeah,
it's hard
so
in the
it's
States.
Completely different.
It's a different animal. It's a different animal.
And you know what? I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Margaret Coons of Nuts for Cheese. She's another brand based out of London, where I am, and she's seen.
Oh, I didn't know she's London based.
I didn't know she was London.
That's
either.
Cool.
Yeah, she actually used to pick a lot of her orders out of the one of the spaces that we used to work out of when we were both really, really small. And so she's based out of London, but she's seen incredible growth in the States recently. And, you know, she onboarded with Publix and Sprouts, and I think she landed a few like Erewhon and some large accounts like that. And I'm constantly asking her. I was actually bumped into her at CHFA, and then we bumped into each other again at the airport on the way home. And so then we had like a 5-hour layover. So we're sitting, I was like, I got to pick your brain about what you're doing because it's working. And we're completely different, you know, they're in specialty non-dairy cheese, and we're in cold pressed juice. But I was like, whatever you're doing, it's working. I got to pick your brain.
Yeah. Dish, right? Like, tell me what's going on.
It's those moments that you didn't really get, and, you know, bumping into people and, you know, being able to pick their brain on things. And but when people are in a similar stage as you, except slightly ahead, you know,
you might also use the information. That's, you know, if you don't help, it's, I mean, again, well, hopefully as Canadians, we're just a little bit nicer to each other. Is you're supposed to try to help each other on the way through. I mean, at the end of the day, like you said in the first place, there's a lot of business out there. There's lots of room for, you're not going to get it all anyway. No matter what you think, someone's going to come in anyway. At least you may be one of your friends.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, what the hell?
Yeah, absolutely.
Love it.
In terms of, so now with the growth in the 2,500 stores, et cetera, how are you finding, I'm assuming you've had some challenges with supply chain. That's a guess.
We're lucky
possibly, you know.
Yeah, we're lucky that we put a lot of kind of like redundancies in place to kind of hopefully mitigate a lot of those supply chain issues. But there's always those things that are out of your control. And I feel like it's like a weekly basis that I'm reaching out to Sobeys and saying, hey, can you update your PO? That was dated for Friday to Monday or Tuesday because the trucking company that's bringing it over to you, you know, either wasn't able to book an appointment, or they're just late, or, you know, they couldn't find any drivers. They couldn't find any drivers. Yeah. So, that's become challenging. Again, luckily procuring things like bottles and caps and labels and cardboard, we have a really keen eye for managing and forecasting our velocities and things like that to make sure that we're reordering with lots of wiggle room for delayed lead times. I know through COVID, lead times for cardboard went from like 3 weeks to maybe 16 or 17 weeks.
Or maybe never.
Or more.
Maybe never, because they're all being soaked up by, you know, Walmart.
Absolutely. Well, Walmart and Amazon were soaking up
Amazon.
all the Target.
Yeah. And so we were lucky to, you know, have these forecasts in place, reach out to our suppliers regularly and asking, hey, has your lead time changed? Oh, it has. I'm going to cut this PO now. Or can you move this PO up that we had kind of post-dated in the system? And so we work really closely with our suppliers too, like our bottle supplier. It comes straight from straight from the manufacturer, and we have a good working relationship with them. They're the same bottle manufacturer we've been using for the last 8 years. And so we have this, you know, this tight-knit relationship with a lot of our suppliers that, you know, if we might see something coming up, or if, you know, for example, we went on promo with Costco.ca a few weeks ago. I think it was, you know, June 27th or something, and they forecasted this like ridiculous lift, and we were like, we can't maybe necessarily do that.
Yeah.
So we, you know, put our hats on, ordered everything up, overstock, had a PO sitting on the burner, and when it went live, it performed. It did really well. And our team in the warehouse was ready to go. They had boxes built. We had lots of raw materials coming in, or packaging materials coming in to pick from. And we ended up kind of like weathering the storm that is a Costco promotion, because we have, again, these things in place to make sure that we don't get caught with our pants down. And that's not to say that we haven't gotten caught with our pants down, but we do our best to kind of like avoid as much as possible by having these redundancies in place with, you know, multiple production companies or multiple suppliers of the same product. Just to make sure that if one runs out, we can hit up somebody else and say, hey, you know, so-and-so doesn't have our caps. Can you send us, you know, 1 million caps or whatever?
How about the core ingredients though? When you're talking like, whether it's apples, oranges, broccoli, cauliflower, I don't really care.
We're lucky that our co-packer has a really good relationship with a lot of the farms and the place that they you know, get the produce from.
Mm-hmm.
We had problems, you know, a few months ago getting cucumbers. There was a huge cucumber shortage in Canada, And so we had to basically reach out to a lot of our retailers and say, listen, we can't make you this SKU with that ingredient, but we have this similar SKU. Or you know what, we're going to short this, but can we increase these ones that we can make more of for you? And again, what it comes down to, what we found, and again, which is something we neglected, when I first came on board, and even up until a year or two ago, is communication with retailers is absolutely key.
It's huge.
Huge. Yeah. And there are people too. You get scared of emailing like your category manager for Sobeys or something. Like, oh,
they can be a little mean. They can be a little mean.
Yeah, and you're worried that they're going to jump in your throat for changing a PO date. And they're like, okay, thanks for letting me know. Or like, I'm going to short this because of this reason. And they're like,
they just need to know. That's what nobody wants a surprise, right? They just need to know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the world is full of shorts, etc. We just need to know.
Yeah.
And your pricing has been okay. Like you haven't had to worry about downsizing, changing sizes, or anything like that.
No, we haven't done any price increases in the last maybe 4 years. The only one we did was recently. We did one with Metro, and it was only because their price was so low, because it was like grandfathered from 2015.
It needed a price increase.
It was due, and it was one of those, like, we haven't done one in 7 years. It was kind of like, do you mind if we do one? And it was like asking permission, and it was very well received, and that's the only one we've done in my time here.
Wow, good for you. Good for you. Wow.
It's awesome, man. You guys got it buttoned down. You guys
got this thing down. We're excited to see where you go from here.
Yeah, no shit. That's really cool. Dying to see what happens in the States with you guys.
Yeah, we're expecting, big things like everyone who goes into the States does. And like I said, it's one of those, pay to play. Yeah, you have to have like your pockets lined to be able to do it. And we are completely bootstrapped. We've never had any investor money. We've never had any VC money.
Let's see what you can do.
Money in, money out. And, you just have to make sure that you're ready to, put your dollars in the right spot.
Exactly.
And again, you'll get burned before, but as long as you learn from what you
try not to make the same mistake twice, 3, 4, 10 times.
Exactly. Which again, is a common problem in this industry. I found, it's kind of like, let's try it again.
Yeah, maybe it'll change this time. No.
But it's spending your money, appropriately. And in the US especially, again, we're attending the CHR Expo East, in Philly, September or end of September, and it's like 4 times the cost of going to like a CHFA.
Right.
It's just crazy, like the booth rental costs.
Yeah, just so you know, the return on the East isn't typically as good as a CHFA either. But that's okay. You got to do what you got to do. It's all part of it, and you'll meet. You know what? Even if you meet a couple new people, it's all good in the hood, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was. I read something the other day on LinkedIn. I think it was like Mike Fata saying like, you have to go to the trade shows.
I think you do too. I think you need to be seen.
Yeah, I think
it's part of the game.
We think so.
We believe in it. Like him and I, we're easy. 100%. I think you need to go.
You have to go to the event. You have to show face. You have create that human interaction with some of the brand. Because there's a million other juices. There's a million other coffees or teas or whatever. You need to kind of break down those those corporate barriers and say, listen, like, I'm Devin and I want to sell you juice, or I want you to carry my juice.
Right.
And I don't want you to list it for any other reason than the fact that you like me. So it's breaking down those kind of walls and saying, like, let's grab dinner, let's have lunch, let's grab a drink, let's go to this broker party, and say,
we're gonna go to this bumping party with baby. Kyle.
Yeah,
that's what we're doing.
Yeah, so it's like creating this kind of like human relationship that I think you need for someone to want to trust to list your product.
Right. Well, awesome. I guess we'll meet you in person and get hugs and kisses in Toronto. We'll be at CHFA. I hope you're there.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well, we'll catch up with you then, and we'll see what that 2-month gap has done.
Yeah.
Hopefully some exciting news for you. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm hoping too, right? 2 months. Get your shit together. Let's go, eh?
Yeah. Awesome. Devin, thanks for coming on.
Appreciate it.
This has been amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Sounds good. All right. Take care of yourself. Phil, stick around. Devin, we'll see you in a couple months.
You got it.
Right. See you, Devin.
Take care, buddy.
Bye, guys.
Ciao.
Cool.
Well, it's cool because he's got, it's funny. I mean, you don't typically, you can get passion from people who aren't the founders or the owners, but typically you don't get, like he actually sounded like he was.
Oh, he's chomping at it. He loves it.
He's dialed in.
Yeah. He's all there.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. I think it is too. I think it actually is too.
Yeah, man.
Okay, buddy.
Well, thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Appreciate it.